Welcome back to another super awesome mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, and my guest this week is the host of the podcast Towards Anarchy. He is a former street activist and writer for Cop Block and current owner of the comic book shop Amazing Fantasies in Topeka, Kansas, which you can also find online at amazingfantasies.com. He is Michael Storm. Michael, welcome to Super Awesome Mix.
Matt, thank you for having me, man. I'm so excited about this. When you first reached out, I was, oh yes, this is something I want to do.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm so excited. And it's funny. I think you probably get this a lot. Like you talk about, Anarchy's right there in your podcast title, and it has a negative connotation, but or at least generally, maybe not universally, but generally, right? As I listen to your playlist and as I listen to your podcast, like it's not like anarchy in the sense of like societal chaos, right? So kind of maybe talk about like your view on anarchy a little bit.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty well in the name. It's just that you're exactly right. It has a bad connotative meaning, and I liken it to anarchists and Christians. They both have the same PR problem. There are a lot of people that run around calling themselves anarchists, run around calling themselves Christian, but don't do very anarchist Christian-like things. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, you've brought to us a really great and diverse playlist, which I've really appreciated. And I'm kind of dubbing it Songs of Anarchy because I think they all kind of encompass what you're talking about just in different ways. So I'll just introduce each song and then we can just get into it. I'm going to just edit myself here. But track one, it's F the Police by NWA.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why to start out with that one, but it's just right up there at the top of the list. The diversity in the list and the songs that are on there. I like every single one of these songs. This is not, I'm a music guy. That's the other thing I do. I play multiple instruments, and so I'm constantly listening to music. It's a part of my life and always has been. So yeah, every single one of these songs I like. I listen to. I probably know word for word.
Yeah, in this one, NWA came around when I was probably like 10 or 11 years old. And it was kind of the turning point for warning labels on then cassettes and albums and later CDs, right? But I remember like people even at my age, like we were hearing this stuff, right? Like either older siblings or whatever, like it was getting to us, and it was kind of a wake up call because it was at a time when like there wasn't this 24-hour news cycle. So South Central Los Angeles might have well have been Mars to me, right? Like I grew up in Texas, so like, it's just this different world. Like wait, what's going on there? Like what is happening? And so it really was kind of mind opening in a lot of ways when NWA came around. Did you have that sort of experience when you came across them for the first time?
Yeah, I grew up in the city. I grew up in Denver, and so I grew up around a diverse people, they're just different people everywhere, all over the place. And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
grew up, I'm a metalhead. I'm at the same time I'm listening to NWA and I'm listening to Metallica and Justice, or, well,
yeah,
maybe not. Yeah, I guess and Justice by then,
yeah.
1989, but crazy, just a wide variety of music. And this just said so much more because we would hear about it. We would hear no 24-hour news cycle, but you'd still hear about stuff on the news. You'd still hear about
Yeah.
what's going on. Man, you'd hear about gang violence in LA and another gang member dies today. And it was just a thing. And so, yeah, you'd hear their side of it, right? That's what
Oh,
you'd hear.
right,
You'd hear the
right.
news side.
Yes. I guess that's what I meant is like
Yeah.
hearing the other side of it,
Yeah.
right? Versus just the news story of somebody, gangs are causing this or that. And then like, here's this other side of the story saying, like, look, this is what we're going through,
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, you get to hear that other side of the story and see you get to see what it's really about because well, and then of course you have the pop movies and your pop culture and your movies and things going on too, and you don't really know if that's real because it's Hollywood. It's all a it's all a big put on. So yeah, it I think that's the closest reality that you could ever get to what they were experiencing on the streets that they weren't telling us.
Right, right. No, for sure. And speaking of not, relating to something, I mean, track two, we go back a decade, right, to the late 70s, and we go across the pond, if you will, over to the UK. And it's the Sex Pistols, Anarchy in the UK. And then you also work in here, Anarchy in the USA, Megadeth's kind of take on it, if you will. So talk about those songs and kind of what they encompass for you.
Yeah, going back, Sex Pistols. I mean, that was the first thing I actually thought of. I reordered the list just a little bit, put a couple of things. I even thought about doing it completely the opposite direction. I thought about doing it by year. But ultimately, in
I
the
love
end,
it. I
I
love it.
just wanted
Yes.
those songs up there on the list. I just kept, oh, yep, that's got to go up there. And when I was thinking about the Anarchy in the UK, I had to bring it back home, you know. And Megadeth had recorded Anarchy in the USA, which basically is just the same song. They just changed UK to USA, but it was heavier. It was metal, a little bit more my style. Punk was punk. It wasn't heavy metal. It's not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't my it wasn't really my thing, but I grew up listening to that. That's what I come up listening to the rock and roll of the 70s and the 80s is my formative years, but the I was surrounded by uh, the the greats. I personally think that the best music that just barely falls into it. The Anarchy in the USA or in the UK, the '76 version, the Sex Pistols version, because I kind of think that the best years of music was '64 to '74, rock and roll, pop music, you name it, just across the board. Fantastic, wonderful music every day and every day since, but. Personally, I think that just overall the production, the instrumentation, the culture that it brings at that point. You're past some of the weirder. Sorry about that. Um, you're past some of the weirder things that as normal people we don't understand, like the wars, all the wars through the Second
Hmm.
World War, Vietnam War, Korea, all those wars are sort of wrapping up and around this time, and so everything that's coming through there, music like the Sex Pistols, this Anarchy, it's about telling the state that they can't do this to us, that we're not their pawns, we're not for them to send off to their wars for conquering and stealing people's oil and whatever it happens to be at whatever their excuse happens to be at the time. And so yeah, that's the birth of it right there, right, breaking out. I think that's probably the beginning of it, if you will.
Yeah, I love it. I was fortunate enough to have an older sister who was way into metal, and so I probably heard this way earlier than I I should have. Um, but I mean, I'm right there with you. It's like it still resonates even today when you listen to it, right? And that's what makes some of these just kind of timeless. I love what you said there about 64 to 74 because that really is such a landmark, like 10-year span in just about every genre you can think of. There was some superstar, some new sound, something that came about in that span. So I love it. I've never kind of narrowed it down that way in sort of particular years, but I think you're spot on. But yeah, this is I don't know. I mean, and you're right. The Sex Pistols are so associated with punk and all this that yeah, of course they're going to have a song about anarchy but this is really just fundamentally about just sort of standing up for yourself and what you believe in. It doesn't have to be like lawlessness or something like like that. It's really I kind of laughed while I was listening to your playlist because I kind of said we're coming up on the 250th birthday of the United States. And it's like, well, that started with a war, right? That started with the Revolutionary War. And yet, when you go out, probably, and you tell people about anarchy, they're probably like, no, 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 you can't do that. You've got to follow the rules, and you've got to do this, you got to do that. Completely anathema to what they thought 250 years ago. And we wouldn't be here now, potentially, if that had not happened.
Yeah, I think people will notice that as we go through the list. There are songs that are more about individualism than they are about. I have no desire whatsoever to try to convince people that they need to take on the state, that they need to change the state. They need
Right,
to
right.
take on themselves. They need to
Yes.
change themselves. You wanna live an anarchist lifestyle? Live an anarchist lifestyle yourself, and be the anarchist. Stay away from the state. Take your time, your money, your health, your wealth out of those endeavors and put them into the things that are important to you. That's watching the state eat itself. We wouldn't, if we sit back here and we watch these guys snack on each other all day long, just
Mm-hmm.
snip, 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 bite, bite, bite. That's all they do. And if you just sit back and let them do it, eventually they'll be gone, and we'll still be sitting here.
I love it. I love it. Well, speaking of kind of putting yourself out there, and you included this probably not knowing that I'm like a massive Bruce Springsteen fan and have included him on so many different mixes on this show. But track 4, we'll call it, is "Born to Run" by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, you know what? That's classic because at 75, I'm only 2 years old. And so this is a song I'm not hearing until I'm in my teen years. This is
Mm.
a song I don't know until I grow up, and MTV hits, and that generation comes along, and you get to experience that new delivery style of music from radio to television. And so I don't know this until I have a girlfriend named Wendy at the age of 14, right?
Oh.
In case anybody doesn't know the song "Born to Run," he's singing to a girl named Wendy. He mentions the name Wendy a couple of times in the song, and so yeah, so I didn't know it until then, and so it has this sort of little special first girlfriend kind of thing going on there as well. But in the end, it's, hey man, it's you and me. There's nobody else in this thing. Let's get away. Let's go do our thing. Let's be who we are. And I think it fits right in.
That's greatness. And by the way, I want to give you a lot of credit because when you were, 14 years old, there wasn't AI you could search up, like, give me songs with Wendy and the lyrics. Like, you had to know. You had to have music knowledge and lyric knowledge to go, hold on a minute. I got the perfect song to play for this girl. So good on you
Yeah,
there.
back in the day, you had to know the music. You had to know the words. Remember reading liner notes and reading the lyrics
Oh,
on it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You'd bust those out and just listen, beginning to end. You weren't just picking one track and listening to it, 500 times over. It's like you're listening to the whole record, and they were constructed that way. I talk about that all the time. I love it when artists now will construct a record in a way where it should be track 1 to track whatever, right? And not just, listen to track 8 because it's the radio single.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, I mean,
cohesiveness. You don't get that
yes.
anymore. Because, well, I don't even know why we still get albums necessarily. Just an instantaneous drop of music, but because I don't know, in this fast-paced everything, why you would wait, why you would hold on to something, why you would build something for a year necessarily. Of course, I'm not a rock star, and I don't know the ins and outs of that other end of the business, and things that go on there. But it just seems to me, in a fast-paced lifestyle like we lead, the way things just hit and burn out and are gone. I would think the second you release something, you'd be posting it on TikTok.
Well, that's, we've had a number of musical artists on the show here, and that's how a lot of them operate kind of in modern times. Is it's just like a series of singles that they're able to produce and get out there. And, it might be a couple years down the line in their, recording life or contract or whatever terms they kind of operate under, where you get maybe an EP, let alone an LP. But yeah, to your point, like, there's less and less of that. It's just sort of just putting out songs, which, I mean, it works, right? Like, I think there's ways to get that stuff out there, but I'm with you. I do miss that just sort of through line, and I'm putting this together. I mean, Springsteen, of course, is kind of legendary for. I mean, he just put out like last year 6 albums worth of stuff that he's like, I don't know where else to put this. Right, here you go. Right, so it's like you could tell he obviously agonized over that quite a bit, but no, it's I've always admired that, and so
Well,
yes,
I think
it's a
today
lost art.
provides an interesting space for all those guys who, especially when you once you created a particular sound and you were associated with that sound, that's who you are. If you ever wanted to do anything different, if you ever want to do something just a little bit off the beaten path from where you've been going all this time, today provides such an easier outlet to do that. You just drop it and let the people who want to hear that from you hear that from you, and the people who want to
Yeah,
hear the other stuff from you, that's what they're going to hear.
yeah, and you could be a quote unquote country artist or a rock artist or rap, whatever, and it's just like you're right. People just kind of take it and run with it, and genres even matter less and less now.
Yeah,
So
yeah, such a different time. Taking a whole album and listening to it and finding the concepts in it. But it's still out there. It's just because obviously you have groups like Sleep Token and there are any number of groups along those lines that have come over the last 5, 10 years, particularly in sort of metal and rock. That they're still doing that thing. They're still
yeah,
making the progressive. I mean, Dream Theater is still out there doing holy, 8 hour long.
yeah,
Okay, maybe that's a little bit longer than most of their stuff, but you know what I mean. They're
yeah.
still doing it. It's not like it's gone away. The storytelling is still out there.
Agreed. All right, your next pick. This is "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy.
Wow, when I talk about the diversity of the list, I love rap, I love rock, I love country, I love classical music. I don't care if it speaks to me, it speaks to me, whether it's the music or the words, and obviously the words in "Fight the Power" speak to me. And again, as a white kid growing up in a diverse area, I don't know what other word to use these days because I don't want to offend anybody, but I grew up in a place that was diverse. It wasn't all white
Yeah,
people. I didn't just
yeah,
turn around and see another white guy. There's some Asian guys. There's some black guys. There's some Mexican guys. We were in the mix, and we don't know it. There's talk about. There's always been talk about. It's one of the things I talk about on the show quite a bit. Is this idea that we have a monoculture, that America is a monoculture. It's a silly notion. It's a really
yeah,
weird idea. Yeah, we have a lot of things in common. We have a government in common for sure. A flag and a few things like that. But generally speaking, most of us don't even know what our neighbors are experiencing at this point in reality, let alone what the guy down the block or the next state over. So this idea that we have a monoculture and that we have some shared existence that we need to save is a interesting thing to me, because I know from listening to "Fight the Power" in 1989, coming up as a white kid, that I had no idea what those kids were going through in their neighborhood. I had this glimpse of it. There's a couple of kids that run around in the school that call themselves Crips, that call themselves Bloods,
yeah,
whatever. And I don't know. I don't know what that is. I see the one wears red. I see the other one wears blue, and that's about it.
yeah,
That music told me more. It told me more about what was going on in the streets, and it told me more in terms of why these poor people, these people of different colors, why they feel like they're being oppressed, why they feel like they don't have a good a chance in society as I do, and that just obviously that's going to speak to me, because as a person as the person I am today, I haven't changed since I was in my teens. I still think and feel the same way that I felt then. There's been no significant difference in who I was then versus who I am now. I've always thought that people deserved respect, that it wasn't about the color of their skin, that it wasn't the music they listened to, it wasn't the
Hmm.
clothes, it wasn't their sexual proclivity. None of these things mattered to me as what people did. It was what you and I did together when we're together, not what the news tells me that you're doing when we're not together. When we're not in each other's proximity. All part of my formation, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this song, I'm kind of with you as far as just illuminating some things. And even, directly in the lyrics where they say, Elvis was a hero to most, but, the
And
meaningless to
John
them,
Wayne,
right?
and
Like
yeah,
what, and
yep.
John Wayne, like these
Hmm.
aren't my heroes.
Nope.
But when you think of kind of, well, I mean, heck, we're right up on the precipice of it. I'm sure with like the 250th celebrations that will go on, there'll be a lot of like Americanness that is surrounding John Wayne and Elvis Presley and all these other things that and you go back to this song and it's like, well, no, to your point, this is not a monoculture. There's actually a very broad scope, and that's why I love having conversations like this and guests on the show, because every time I talk to someone, they're like, this is a musical artist that I'm into that maybe you've never heard of, right? And I'm like, oh, this is awesome, right? And I just get introduced to all these different things, and then to hear what it means to different people. And so that's also, really cool about having conversations like this. And I try to, through this podcast, encourage others to go and listen to new music and something they've never listened to and just kind of get into that. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't mean you agree with everything the person is saying or stands for or whatever, but you can get into the song. And I think where Public Enemy scored really well, like when they came up, was like, you listen to this song, okay, drop the lyrics. Like it's just a great beat, right? Like you're gonna hook some people just on like musically, it's like, oh, this sounds good. And then once they listen to it for like the eighth time, they're like, hold on, what are they talking about? And they can get into that too, and it starts to sink in. So I think it works on a couple different levels. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
this
that
is
was
just
one of
such
the
a
cool
such a
things
great
about some of
song.
those guys from that era. There was, there's the guys that were just rappers and they were rapping over 808 beats and what have you. But then there were the other guys that were musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And those, Flava Flav, for all the insanity that is Flava Flav, hell of a
Yes.
musician.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. When he's not hawking chicken tenders these days, I mean, the guy really knows music, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a great place to be. I'm glad I got to come through it. I'm glad I came through the era that I did. I really am. I was old enough to love that music from 64 to 74, but not so young that it was happening while I was there. It was already developed by the time I came along. It was already a full sound. There was already a culture with it. I didn't have to watch it develop. It's funny talking about this sort of introducing people to new music. I'm mid 50s and I'm not supposed to know who Baby No Money is. I'm not supposed to know who Young Gravy is. There's no way I'm supposed to know who these guys are, especially as
Right.
a
Yeah.
metalhead. But I
Yeah.
do, and I've been to their concerts. So
Well, and what's so great is that these artists know who each other are, right? Because you had like the Public Enemy and Anthrax, like they collaborated on some stuff. And again, it's like they're the Venn diagram of those two fan bases are probably pretty slim. But then after that, they were probably like, oh, wait a minute, let me go check that out, right? So I think you're right. Like I think the artists often know who each other are, and like you said, you're a multi instrumentalist, so like I think people who know music start to make those connections a little more quickly too.
yeah, I think so. I think so. It helps. Yeah, have a little musical ear, not just a taste for a particular type of music. You can tell the person because they're going to be that person's going to listen to the same kind of music all the time, and
Yes.
you'll hear that person say, oh, "I don't like country. I don't like rap."
Right,
What
right.
do you mean
Without
you don't
even
like?
digging in and trying to listen to some country that it's such a broad spectrum too. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of something, I don't even know how you put these guys in any sort of genre, but they are a one of one. Track six. This is "I Want to Break Free" by Queen.
Yeah, that's one that I wasn't sure about it because Queen is so radically different.
Hmm.
I mean, you just said it yourself. There's no real category for them. They were musicians. They were guys that weren't afraid to. I don't care if you liked what we put out last time. This is what we're putting out this time because we like it,
Yeah.
and that's huge for me. And the whole that's a huge cultural thing for us. It's commonplace today to understand that there are homosexuals, that there are people out there that have different lifestyles and behave in certain ways and do things that others of us wouldn't do for whatever our reasons. And this that whole idea of breaking free from the bonds of somebody else's expectations of who you're supposed to be. I'm raised in a certain way, and my expectation is that men and women are the that's the way things go. But then you grow up, you get a little older, you realize people love who they love, and that it's not about these societal constructs for the way you're supposed to live, that it's about you as an individual, and to break free from the chains of when we were growing up, man. You had to be the popular kid or you were nobody.
Right.
You had to
Right.
wear the Jordans, and you had to have the Pepe jeans, or you were not one of the cool kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I talk about this all the time with young people, how it's like you got to reconcile the shoulds in your life, right? Like, I should be this by this age, or I should go take this job, or I should go do this. And when you really break it down, a lot of the shoulds aren't from like your own ambition or desires or anything like that. It's from exactly what you talked about, which is these external things that are like, well, everyone's wearing Jordans. You should wear Jordans. It's like, well, if you don't like Jordans, or don't wear them. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you could just wear what you want to wear, and you should wear the. So it's, I always talk about that in terms of like reconciling the shoulds, right? Like, where are those coming from, and what do those really mean to you? Because gay, straight, or whatever, like, I want to break free. We all have those moments where it's like, I want to get out of like whatever this is I'm in. Like, I want to get away from this and do my own thing. And so I feel like this song can speak to everyone. But yes, for its time, I mean, this was revolutionary.
Well, in the video, anybody who doesn't
Yes.
know, I mean, the video is classic. You have they're cross dressed and they're cleaning house. They're men sort of doing women things, and it's a very interesting video. It's an interesting story. The whole notion of just getting away from the expectations of a society, and the idea again of the monoculture, that we're all supposed to be the
Yeah.
same and that we're all having the same experience. Nonsense.
I love it. I love it. All right, track 7, Vote with a Bullet by Corrosion of Conformity.
Yeah, this is one that's interesting because it sounds like it's one thing, but kind of isn't. They're really. I so COC is an old school punk band that's changed back and forth over the years. Had a couple of different singers, Pepper Keenan and Mike. uh, can't think of Mike's name off the top of my head. At any rate, bouncing back and forth and changing, I think the first COC song I heard was Rabid Dogs biting flesh, Rabid Dog. That's what the hell is that? But then you get a couple albums down the road, you get a new lead singer, and you get Pepper up there playing the bass and singing, and you get something political. You get a statement. This is all post Reagan. This is
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
in the George Bush the first era. This is this is a particular time and place in history, and this was an idea. You can't vote. Your voice is not going to be heard. Well, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to direct change. But the idea is that it actually doesn't change anything. That it changes
Right.
you. you're the one who is changed by doing something like that, and it's not going to change the system. You can't take pot shots at political figures and expect to change a system that's bigger than a political figure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this is one where the title is just jarring, right? And you really have to listen to it. Now, I will say, just sonically, like this song sounds awesome, right? Like this is a fantastic song to just listen to, and if you just want to
Oh,
get
the
fired
it's
up,
growly. Yeah,
yes.
it's guttural. Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah, I love it.
guitar, the solo, I mean all of it. I'm just like this is greatness. But yeah, you're right. Like ultimately I think the message here when you walk away is just that there's a challenge here. It's not just, yes, you want to make changes, but change comes slowly a lot of times. And even with a bullet, and as we've seen over the last couple years, people have tried to make dramatic changes with a bullet, and it has not worked. And in fact, it's only kind of probably gone against what they were hoping for in the end. So yeah, I mean, I think this song kind of, we see it almost play out in real life.
Yeah, and the thing about, the again, talking about the video, because this is, so important in that time. Videos may not be as important today as they were then. I don't know, but I certainly know that then you watch the video and they talk about the things that are going on in there. It's, I'm talking about a revolution, and then at the end of the video, a disclaimer: go out and vote. It's affect
Yeah.
change in the world, and so that's one of the reasons I put it up there, is that you make this big bold statement about change in reality and about the power of the individual, and then you cop out because you're on MTV and you got to put a disclaimer on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of revolution, track 8, it is Uprising by Muse.
Yeah, this is just, I had to make sure that I got some modern stuff in there because I didn't want to leave it
Yeah.
out. I still listen to music today. I'm not one of these people who thinks that the music was better
Stop listening in
yesterday.
1987 and just are like,
Right.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, your mom's still in love with 1985 or whatever.
Yeah. That Bowling for Soup song. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, love that song. Yeah, I didn't I it was always a weird thing to me. People who only liked one genre of music, or only one era of music, because
Hmm.
I doesn't make any sense. Because I don't listen for a sound. I listen for the sound. I listen for the message. I listen for I want the whole thing. I'm not. And people that don't like music. Have you ever met one of those? It's happened like two or three people over my lifetime that
Yeah.
say, "No,
Every
I
now
don't
and then
listen to
who
music.
just,
I don't like
yeah, who just
music."
have no
What?
opinions on music or just whatever. Yeah. I don't understand that. I
Yeah,
can't.
a little
Yeah.
weird.
No, it's definitely a little weird. This one, okay, so this one is like a distant cousin to Pink Floyd's The Wall, right? And just kind of that the uprising they're talking to younger people and just like don't like kind of conform to everything going on in, your school or whatever. And again, it doesn't mean just complete chaos. It just means like don't just kind of let your mind kind of get trapped by all of that and sort of locked in. And it's like connecting Muse to like Pink Floyd. I love doing that. My daughter's almost 13, and she'll listen to a song and I'll go, hold on a minute, come here, listen to this song. And I'll play her something from like 20, 30 years ago. And she'll be like, why does that sound the same? And I'm like, cause it is. Like, look, but that's to your point about like listening to new music and stuff. I love kind of making those connections through time, both, sonically and thematically, to just kind of be like, hey, I know you like this. Now come listen to this from before and see how that connects.
Well, I'll
Because I
give
don't
I'll
know,
give you a
I
really
think
good
it's
example
cool.
of that for us. Not us trying to expose our children to the things because they're going to, or they're not, and they're going to enjoy it or not. But we ourselves, as we go through the years, 80s hair band music, late 70s rock music is gone. that generation, that era, that's all gone. Some of those guys are still around. Some of them are still making music. And then one day you turn on YouTube and there's the darkness, and you're like, wow, it's
Yeah.
1985 all over again, but it's not. It's 2015, it's 2020 or whatever. I'm not sure exactly when Thing Called Love came out. It's probably been at
Yeah.
least a decade ago
No, but
now.
you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, I mean, if that's not, 19 late 70s rock and roll music, I don't know what is.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No, I love it when bands do that, like modern bands when they kind of come out with like a little bit of a throwbacky sound, but kind of their modern twist on it. I'm like, God, that's awesome, and I wish I don't know. It's just fun to find bands like that.
Yeah, well, you got
Um,
to take a chance to do that as a band, I think.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, track 9, and this one was a real left turn for me, but again, I love this song, so I'm glad you included it. How Do You Like Me Now by Toby Keith.
Yeah, that's I kind of thought maybe it would throw that in there because one, it's the only country song on the list,
Yeah.
and I could have picked any number of country songs. I could go back to Patsy Cline, but I I don't know. This is just one of those other songs in the list that makes it clear that when I'm talking about these changes in affecting change in the future, I'm talking about changing yourself now. I'm talking when I talk about anarchy, I'm not talking about chaos. You brought that up a couple of times. That's absolutely right. I'm not talking about chaos. That's not what anarchy is. Anarchy is just turning your back on that system and putting that system in its place compared to the individual and the human experience, because those constructs are just that. They're not real. Those are things that have been put into place long before you and I got here because somebody else felt like those things were important, not because you and I believe that those things were important, not because they necessarily impact our lives. But we see now, 250 years later, what this has brought about. What we brought about is another system of controls. They just call it a different name, and worse, they give us this idea. They leave us with this impression that you and I can actually participate in it and help affect some change. And they get us taking our energy away from us, ourselves, our
Mm-hmm.
community, the homes and people around us that matter. And they get us thinking about global ideas and thinking about things that are beyond our reach and beyond our ability to change. And I'll give you an example of that. Why it sounds like it's a really good idea to think globally, but it's not, because it sacrifices the local idea, the individual idea. And so the stock market is a perfect example of this. Everybody thinks the stock market is a good thing because it allows people to take and invest their money in all these big corporations and all these different business and interests all over the place and get rich and blah blah blah. Except that what it really does is it's taken the money out of a neighborhood. It's taken the rich people in this neighborhood and it's taken their money and put it in a corporation in Utah or New York or California, instead of right here in Topeka, Kansas, where that rich person and that money and their ability to affect change locally has so much more importance and power. And so, yes, it's great that people can invest in companies and help companies grow, and they can grow their own individual wealth. But the fact is that they've taken their money and their opportunities away from the local space and moved it to this earth ethereal sort of, it's out there, it's, it helps everybody because it's big.
No, that's a great point. I mean, and it's not just economically, but also politically. It's like people don't realize a lot of times that the local elections are so much more impactful in their everyday lives than anything, Donald Trump or Joe Biden or fill in the politician's name on sort of like a higher scale is really doing to them. Right. Like it's really the local stuff that is going to have a day to day impact on you. And you're absolutely right. Like, supporting that local shop in your town is going to have a much bigger economic impact than, tossing a couple bucks towards Amazon, which we all do. We're all guilty of, right? Like it's not, no, that's not a judgment necessarily. It's just sort of a fact, though, that
No,
economically,
it's
that's
factual,
that's that's
just a
right.
statement. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, track 10. You've got "Handlebars" by Flobots.
This I had to throw in there because they're from my backyard. I'm from Colorado. I was born and raised in Colorado, and the Flobots are from Colorado, and I just remember one day turning on the radio and hearing this song and the words in it, and I this is one of those great songs. It's a lot like Uprising, and it's even from the same era.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It has a certain feel about it, about things that are going on that time. We're not that far from 9/11. We've entered into
yeah,
this whole new millennia where, everything's different, everything's changing, technology is coming along. There's so much happening, and that's a lot what the song is about there, about the influence of technology and the fact that you can sort of, not only can you beam good around the world, but you can beam destruction around the world with just the touch of a button. Yeah, that's I remember that song, and I just listened to that song over and over again when it first came out because I'm just trying to catch that. It's a wonderful sound to it because it's not particularly complicated
yeah,
musically, but it's good. It's
yeah,
really put together, and then you listen to the words, and it tells you about a time, about an innocence that we lose. There's something that I talk about a lot in the show that we seem to forget because we're told as children, we understand this completely as children. Well, some of us do. Keep your hands off other people and their stuff. And
yeah.
about the time we hit 18 and can get the power to vote, all of a sudden we're voting to take other people's stuff. Give me your stuff, put it into the collective, make my life, make our life better by giving us your stuff. And so there's this disconnect. And Handlebars is one of those songs that talks about the magic of youth and the open world ahead of you, and then being shoved into this box by the time you become an adult and you lose the magic of youth. There are a lot of other songs that are like that, but I just had to do that one.
I know, and you're spot on there because I look at it as like fundamentally when you're learning to ride a bike, it's like keep your hands on the handlebars, right? Like that's how you keep your balance. And here it's like, you can ride a bike with no handlebars, right? Like you can do that. And it's exactly what you're saying is that realization at some point that wait a minute, maybe that wasn't accurate what they told me. Was maybe there is something different out there for me, right? And I think this song is such a cool kind of magic trick in that it's real cool and mellow to start, and then it just starts to build up and build up and build up, and there's a little bit of anger at the end. And so I think it kind of draws people in really well too to make them listen to that. So
Well, if
yeah,
you can
really
get
really cool pick.
somebody to change their emotion in a song, well, it's easy
Yeah,
to play a sad song and have them be sad throughout the entire song. But if you can
right,
get them to
right.
change emotions, man, you got them.
Yes, yes. All right, track 11. This is "Messy" by Lola Young.
This one's going to be new. This is going to be one of those ones that I'm not supposed to know, and I've actually known it for the couple of years that it's been out. It's only
Yeah.
recently hit airplay and got a
Yes.
video and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
this one's
love
really
it.
cool.
I don't know if people haven't heard it yet. It's another one of these songs about individualism. It's about in particular in relationships and in my own life. Yeah, I'm married. I've been married would be 31 years now. We have three kids, and they're wonderful and happy and healthy and smart and um, we had our moment at the beginning that it's like this is who I am. If you want to come along for the ride, I'll make you a nice, comfortable seat, but we're going on my path.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me one thing and gaslight me and say no, I won't allow that to happen. So let's just get this out here in front. It's a partnership. We're in it together, and that's the way it's going to be all the way through it, and not just right now. It's going to be this way for the entire time. And I don't know. I think I love watching the video too, when she tears apart the cake in the room, and there's just the frosting and everything is everywhere. And it's just one of those songs that speaks to me about being empowered and not sacrificing yourself to somebody else, not changing yourself for somebody else. And it's not the same thing as not sharing yourself with somebody else.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. But it is just kind of being true to yourself. And in this one, it's like, I want to be me. Is that not allowed? You know, or 1,000 people I can be for you and you hate them all. It's just
Yeah,
like,
the whole lot. Yeah.
yeah, it's the danger of just trying to orient yourself towards someone else. And then it's like, why isn't this working? It's like, because it's never going to work, right? Like you can't be someone else just for that long. You can't act for that long unless
Well, it
you're,
only go. That's it. It only goes for so long.
yeah,
You will only pull it off for so long, and you will either end up completely sacrificing yourself and who you are, and you will regret it the rest of your life. And you see it in a lot of people who make decisions like that end up doing that to themselves. Or you will, you'll realize that it's okay to be you. It really is. And
yeah,
it's okay to want the things you want. And it's really okay to go out there and find the people and things that will help you achieve what you want and not be an impediment to being who you want to be.
right. No, 100%. All right, track 12. This is Peace Sells by Megadeth.
This is a big one on the list because Megadeth is. I don't know if they're my favorite metal band of all time, but they're right up there. They're Slayer and Metallica and Megadeth and Anthrax and Judas Priest, and the list goes on and on and on. But I think Megadeth is right up there at the top, and it's a lot to do with the whole of Dave Mustaine's existence. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it. Obviously, all I'm seeing when this pops on is I'm seeing the video, and for people who don't know the video or don't know the song "Peace Sells," but the video, it doesn't start this way. So ultimately, it's a kid watching the news. He's sitting in his living room watching the news, or what he believes is the news. He's watching videos on MTV, and in particular, he's watching Megadeth, and they're talking about war, and they're talking about destruction, and the state waging war and causing destruction on people. And the father walks in the room and he changes the channel and he says, "I want to watch the news." And the kid leans forward and he changes the channel back. And this is back when TVs had knobs. I don't know if anybody
Right,
knows what
right.
those are, but they had not. You actually touched the TV. There was no remote control. There's no
That's
magical
right.
button. You actually reach forward and touch the TV. He changed the channel back and he says, "This is the news," and it was. It was the news. It was again the story you're not hearing in 1980, whatever, 5, 4, something like that. All you have is, even in America, all you have is those core news places, the same ones
Mm-hmm.
that we have now, controlled by the same interests at,
Yeah,
at this point in history as they were back then. And you didn't have the internet. You didn't have ways of getting other bits of information. You didn't have ways of knowing what other people felt around the world unless you happen to have a pen pal in one of those places. And music, things like Megadeth and people who were, culturally, societally, politically aware, brought information to people like myself where we couldn't get it in any other place.
yeah, no, totally agree. And just, I mean, I think this song kind of speaks not just to that time, but also even like modern times, because as much as, every now and then someone will pop up and be like, you know what, we're a positive news network, and then it's like they last for like a week and then they got to close up shop because people want to click on the Discord and they want to kind of click on the big headline. I mean, there's a word for it now, clickbait, right? Which we certainly didn't have then, but I think the same phenomenon occurred, which was just like, people want to be fed a certain diet, and then here it's like peace sells, but no one's buying it, right? Like, and no one wants that necessarily. But yeah, you're right. We'll include the video here in the show notes so people can kind of link to that, because I think you're right. I think it is going to be cool and kind of complete the picture for everyone when they see that.
Well, it's the metalheads statement, right? The punk
Yeah.
guys already had theirs about a decade before, and country had been going on forever and ever. Everybody else had their say. Metal was still a fairly young,
Yeah.
yeah, and so that was one of those early statements that we're here, we're conscious, we're aware of what's going on in the world, and we're paying attention, and we're watching, and we're telling our fans what we want to tell them.
All right, let's bring it home. This is Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf.
Yeah, this is one that I love to play this song. I really do. This is I don't ever remember my life without this song.
You know what? That's a great statement, because I think I could probably stay the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
is I feel like this has always been around for me.
Yeah, I've always heard it in the background. Born to be wild. Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm born to be. We're all born to be wild. We're born wild.
Yes.
It's this taming that society does to us that it destroys. Maybe they're happy. Maybe all the people in the little boxes on the hillside are happy, and if they are, fine. It's good for them. But I see so much more. You don't hear. There's never a story of whoever, Bill Gates or Elon Musk or somebody like that, whatever. There's never a story of these guys being like, oh yeah, I went to school every single day. I got up at exactly, carried on, did all of my homework and got straight A. That's never the story. It's
Yeah.
I went to school until I got tired of it, and then I quit and I went and did something else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
They just kind of broke away from whatever that construct was that they were sitting under.
Yeah, they were wild and they followed that wild streak, and they realized, we're born to be wild, which is weird because then they immediately start putting a bunch of things out there to try to cage the rest of us, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, Steppenwolf didn't write the follow up to that one, right?
No.
When the wild people take over. Well, awesome, Michael. Thank you so much for bringing your mix, the super awesome mix. These are songs of Anarchy. Like I said, we'll include the link to the playlist as well as a few video links for this one in the show notes. But Michael, tell everyone where they can find your podcast and your shop and anything else you want to plug here.
I'm at Toward Anarchy everywhere, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me on this because the pod match system is really great. I've been on there. I maybe not since day one, but really early on. I'm one of the old free guys that was on the system and just trying the system out because my podcast, my show is not monetized. It's totally given them out for free. I don't do any advertisements or anything like that. I don't take any money in from other sources. I fund and do the whole thing myself because it's for me, and I think that that's just par for the course, right? That's just me doing my thing. It's me being wild. It's me living my life. But it's also making sure that I'm never going to have to say something I don't want to say or something that I don't believe. And so, yeah. What you get when you find me is just an honest conversation with whoever it is that I'm having, and I just love being able to use the Podmatch system to meet people like yourself. When you first reached out and I read that little blurb and you're talking about creating a playlist, a theme playlist, I instantly no, let's do this. I don't care what the terms are. Let's just do this because I want in on this. I love what you're doing here, and I hope that you continue to do it because I think this is the kind of conversation that puts all that other nonsense that we've been talking about for the past hour in its place. it puts people first, it puts ideas first, and it puts all of this other nonsense, the political silliness and racial division and all these other things that they want us to concentrate on. It puts it all in the back seat, and we concentrate on us. We talk about us and how the music makes us feel and what it did for us, how it made us grow, and how it impacted our lives. And I love it. And it's a niche that somebody needed to fill, and I'm so glad that you invited me to come do it. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. No, I've really enjoyed having you on, and you're right. I mean, the reason we started this is because we just think music brings people together, and a lot of times it is sort of the surprising picks from people and the surprising things they talk about, and just the associations they have that make it even more meaningful for me. And then again, it doesn't mean I become a huge fan of fill in the blank band afterwards, but just discovering something new and listening to something and just opening your mind up, I think is huge.
That's it
So
right there. It's
yeah,
about being open. It's about
yeah.
being open to the new ideas, and it's about letting it just go, letting it flow. Let that music flow, let that feeling flow, because it's good. When it works, it's really good, and it works more often when you don't fight it. It's so Life is so much more enjoyable when you're not struggling to to make life work for you in some way that somebody else ultimately told you that's how life's supposed to be,
Yeah.
because that's what we're faced with every single day, right? Is other people telling us that what we're doing isn't enough, or it should be better, it should be different, and I don't have time for that.
I, I completely agree. I completely agree. All right. Well, everyone out there, check out Towards Anarchy, the podcast. And if you're in the Topeka, Kansas area, check out Amazing Fantasies, a comic book shop. AmazingFantasies.com is where you can find them. And who knows, Michael, I may have to have you back on to talk through some maybe
Love it.
music from all the comic genres that we see out there
We
that are
could
being
do
converted
something like
into
that. Yeah, absolutely.
movies and
Love
TV
that.
shows now. Anyway, yeah, I think there's more episodes to come, maybe
I
with you
think
on the
so.
show.
Yeah, I'd
But
love it. Absolutely.
all right. Well, in the meantime, of course, you can find us at Super Awesome Mixed on Instagram, on Threads, YouTube, all of that. And hey, we're gonna have more mixes we're gonna work on. So for Michael, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time.